Now Adam's dead body was the first body buried in the earth. And grief for him was exceedingly sore, and Seth and his sons mourned for his death 140 days. And they took Adam's body up to the top of the mountain and buried it in. And after the families and peoples of the children of Seth had buried Adam, they separated themselves from the children of Cain, the murderer. And Seth took Enosh, his firstborn, and Canaan, and Mahalaleel, and their wives and children, and led them up into the glorious mountain where Adam was buried. And Cain and all his descendants remained below on the plain where Cain slew Abel.
Purchase your track today.
The rule of Seth. And Seth became the governor of the children of his people, and he ruled them in purity and holiness. And, because of their purity, they received the name, which is the best of all names, and were called the sons of God. They, and their wives and their sons. Thus they lived in that mountain, in all purity and holiness, and in the fear of God. And they went up on the skirts of the mountain of paradise, and they became praisers and glorifiers of God in the place of that host of devils, who fell from heaven. There, they dwelt in peace and happiness. There was nothing about which they needed to feel anxiety. They had nothing to weary or trouble them. And they had nothing to do, except to praise and glorify God with the angels. For they heard continually the voices of the angels who were singing praises in paradise, which was situated at no great height above them. In fact, only about 30 spans, according to the measure of the Spirit. They suffered neither toil nor fatigue, they had neither seed time nor harvest, but they fed themselves with the delectable fruits of glorious trees of all kinds. And they enjoyed the sweet scent and perfume of the breezes which were wafted forth to them from paradise. Thus lived those holy men, who were indeed holy. And their wives were pure, and their sons were virtuous. And their daughters were chaste and undefiled. In them, there was no rebellious thought, no envy, no anger, no enmity. In their wives and daughters there was no impure longing. And neither lasciviousness, nor cursing, nor lying, was heard among them. The only oath which they used in swearing was, by the blood of Abel. And they, and their wives, and their children used to rise up early in the morning, and go up to the top of that holy mountain, and worship there, before God. And they were blessed by the body of Adam their father, and they lifted up their eyes to paradise, and praised God. And thus, they did all the days of their life. And when Seth had lived 913 years he became sick unto death. And Enosh his son, and Canaan, and Mahalaleel, and Jared, and Henoch, and their wives and their sons, gathered together and came unto him. And they were blessed by him. And he prayed over them, and commanded them, and made them to take an oath, and said unto them, I will make you to take an oath, and to swear by the holy blood of Abel, that none of you will go down from this holy mountain to the children of Cain, the murderer. For ye know well, the enmity which hath existed between us and Cain, from the day whereon he slew Abel. And Seth blessed Enosh, his son, and gave him commands concerning the body of Adam. And he made him ruler over the children of his people. And Seth ruled them in purity and in holiness, and he ministered diligently before the body of Adam. And Seth died when he was 912 years old, on the 27th day of the blessed month of Abj, on the 2nd day of the week, at the 3rd hour, in the 20th year of the life of Enoch. And Enosh, Seth's firstborn son, embalmed his body and buried him in with his father Adam. And they made a mourning for him 40 days. The rule of Enosh. And Enosh rose up to minister before God. And he became the governor of the children of his people. And he kept all the commandments which his father Seth had commanded him, and he urged them to be constant in prayer. And in the days of Enosh, in his 820th year, Lamech, the blind man, killed Cain the murderer, in the forest of Nod. Now, this killing took place in the following manner. As Lamech was leaning on the youth, his son Tubal-Cain, and the youth was setting straight his father's arm in the direction in which he saw the quarry, he heard the sound of Cain moving about, backwards and forwards, in the forest. Now, Cain was unable to stand still in one place, and to hold his peace.
Purchase your
And
track
Lamech,
today.
thinking that it was a wild beast that was making a movement in the forest, raised his arm, and, having made ready, drew his bow and shot an arrow towards that spot. And the arrow smote Cain between his eyes, and he fell down and died. And Lamech, thinking that he had shot Cain, spake to the youth saying, Make haste, and let us see what game we have shot. And when they went to the spot, and the boy on whom Lamech leaned had looked, he said unto him,
Purchase your track
O my lord,
today.
thou hast killed Cain. And Lamech moved his hands to smite them together, and as he did so, he smote the youth and killed him also. And when Enosh had lived 905 years, and was sick unto death, all the patriarchs gathered themselves together, and came unto him. Namely, Canaan, his firstborn son, and Mahalaleel, and Jared, and Enoch, and Methuselah. They and their wives and their sons.